Kathy, thanks for making some time to meet with me today. I wanted to have a bit of a chat with you because I know there's this ongoing problem going on with Eric.
Yeah.
And my understanding is Eric's your direct report.
Yeah.
And I just wanted us to have a bit of a conversation to see if we can understand what's going on and see if we can come up with a plan, because it feels like the behaviour has been going on a while now.
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's sort of a problem. So can you describe to me exactly what Eric does that's a problem for you?
Sure. So probably if I use yesterday as an example, we had a meeting with some of the stakeholders for the project.
Mm-hmm.
Eric has a pattern of being quite erratic in meetings, so he can be really calm, but then if there's something that happens that's at odds with what he thinks we should do, he'll just let loose and start criticising the project and swearing and, you know, being really negative and cynical and sarcastic. And so in those situations, of course, everyone just gets really upset, and the stakeholders, he was complaining about the vendors being crazy and all this sort of stuff. So it's sort of almost like that he's okay, and then, you know, it's like he's got a short fuse and it'll all blow up, and that's a pattern that we've been seeing for a while now.
Yeah.
And the trick is, because he's so critical to the project, that, you know, if I raise it with him and he gets really upset, then, you know, the risk of him maybe leaving or what that will do to the project.
Yeah. So we're kind of caught here that you need him to do his best work on the project, and if he's feeling very criticised, he may either not do his best work or just abandon the project, which we can't afford at this point. But his behaviour, not only is it not helpful to moving the project forward and our reputation with our stakeholders, it's also kind of against our code of conduct as well.
Well, it is, but see, that's a great example where if I say something like that to Eric, he'll tell me what he thinks about the code of conduct, or that's a lot of rubbish or something. So it's kind of like this behaviour that's fun. He's good when he's good, and then when he decides to just behave, you know, he's just aggressive and rude, and it's very hard to manage for me.
Yeah, sounds like it's been really challenging.
Yeah,
quite a long time. Okay, and so you seem to have some hypotheses, some ideas about kind of what causes the flick for him from being calm and effective to being problematic. What are the sorts of things that seem to...
Well, it's funny because it's often when he doesn't get his own way.
Right.
So if there's a view at the table that's at odds with what Eric wants to do, that's when he, you know, behaves this way. And to be honest, it works for him a lot of the time because everyone backs off.
Right.
And you know, and I hate that sort of conflict, so, you know, I probably, even if I start to say something and it gets aggressive, I'll probably pull back.
Right.
So in a way, it's when he's not in charge, or when he's not kind of getting his own way.
And what's your theory for why it matters so much for him to be in charge and getting his own way?
I think he's very passionate about his work and about the project. I think he believes he's right when he does that, and it's almost like if only we could see his way of things, everything would be fine, but it's kind of getting a bit out of control, and so, you know, some of the contractors don't want to work with him, and some love him, but usually that's those that have kind of been here longer.
And when he is pushing for a particular way of doing things, like with the benefit of hindsight, how much of the time is what he's saying actually a good suggestion, sort of in the long run, do you think?
Look, much of the time, it's often not what he says, it's how his approach, it's how he wants to, you know. So if Eric had his way, we wouldn't have stakeholder meetings because they're all idiots and all this sort of
waste
stuff.
Of time.
So there's always something in what he says, but it's just the how. He's really terrible at influencing those sort of relationships, and so then everyone gets upset.
So if we were to summarise the behaviour, it's if in any way he feels like he's losing control of how he thinks the project should be run, and he will then become aggressive and unpleasant, and then that behaviour works for him because everybody backs up and does what he wants.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've said to him in the past, I reckon he'd be happiest if I worked for him rather than the other way around. If I did what he said, he'd be very happy.
And it sounds like he has kind of made that is kind of almost the situation, that he is in control of this.
Yeah.
Is that an overstatement of it?
No, I guess that's probably true.
Right.
And that's probably, as I think I've said to you before, I'm wondering what I'm contributing to this, because I probably do back down and I don't know how to manage it. So.
Right. Okay. And so from your perspective, so our kind of understanding what's happens for him is he feels out of control and then gets aggressive and then he gets what he wants. And so then the next time when things aren't going his way, he's going to be aggressive again because it gets him what he wants.
Yeah.
And from your perspective, what's that flow of events for you?
Oh, look, when I know that there's a meeting like yesterday's, before I even go into it, I'm anticipating what he's going to be like.
Right.
And I just hate them. I hate those meetings, and so I guess I just wait for it to happen, wait for the grenade to get thrown, and then when it does, it's kind of like, oh, well, here we go again.
Okay. And so you go into the meeting kind of braced for... Sounds very stressful.
And then have to spend the next hour talking to all the stakeholders and vendors and partners, kind of going, oh, he's just really passionate. And so it's sort of like this dance that we're doing at the moment.
Okay. And so we're caught in this situation that we really can't let him carry on with behaviour that's not aligned with the code of conduct, that we kind of don't have a choice about that.
Yeah.
And he's critical to the project, so we want to keep him engaged. And so this is a really challenging leadership dilemma.
Yeah.
And if you were handling this well, if you were kind of being the leader you want to be, what would that look like?
I guess it would be about being really clear with Eric about my expectations of him, but I know that using language like code of conduct as an example is not going to work. So finding ways to kind of engage him, but where I'm being really clear about what I need him to do.
Right.
And that I can hold the line on that.
Okay. So if you were engaging with him, that you would kind of use his language and use terminology that makes sense for him.
Some of his language.
Yes, appropriately, but to turn things from kind of corporate speak to kind of more practical speak.
And hook him in that we're on the same team and that I need him and his strengths and values to the project, but that I can't let him behave like this in front of anyone in our team, that it's not how we roll.
Right. So you would be firm with him.
Yeah.
But it sounds like some understanding for how difficult it's going to be for him to change.
Yeah.
Is this a very long standing? Because I get the sense it's been on for years.
Everyone says that's just Eric. Everyone just, So I think he's always just been like this.
Okay. And so what stops you from kind of having those conversations? I hear there's the kind of fear that he's just going to walk off the project.
Well, I've tried a couple of times, but as soon as I start to kind of tell him that what he's doing isn't okay with me, he just gets aggressive, and so I just stop. I can feel myself getting red in the face, and and I can almost feel my pulse getting and I just stop, and I just go, okay, we'll talk about this later.
Okay. So it's the you're already kind of feeling stressed, and then if you raise it with him, he pushes back, and you kind of back away. Yeah. Right.
And it's not easy to do that. I mean, because all the other guys in the team are really easy to get on with, so I don't have...
Yeah. So it's really hard. It's a really hard leadership challenge for you.
Yeah.
So we've got to break this system, because at the moment Eric's really being rewarded for the behaviour that we don't want. what's the behaviour we want him to do?
I want him to be able to be a leader in the project. I want him to be able to speak respectfully in the team. I want him not to swear at people. I want him to be able to manage his temper in meetings.
Okay, so you want him to still be kind of robust and robustly put forward his concerns and his suggestions, but in a way that is respectful to other people and kind of.
And I've told him that, but he just doesn't listen to me.
So you've tried to communicate that to him, and when you communicate that to him, what does he say?
Well, I think he thinks I'm just soft and weak, and that you've got to be passionate and strong with these vendors, or they'll take you for a ride. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So as well as kind of him wanting things to go his own way, another thing that's driving it is that he doesn't really trust the vendors, and he feels like he's got to be strong with them, or they'll just take advantage.
He's just disrespectful to them.
Yeah.
So.
And that comes from him basically not respecting them rather than a kind of stuff that's okay. And so are there times when he kind of does have a conflict with the vendors, but he does manage it in at least, a kind of 10% of what we want sort of way?
Look, there's time, so long as it's not one of his really pet topics, he's okay. And sometimes people who push back on him, he kind of respects them a bit.
Okay. So he's okay if it's not a topic that is kind of really, emotive for him.
Yeah.
And if he kind of respects the other people, then he can manage it.
Yeah.
But when he doesn't respect the other people, it's something that he cares about deeply, he goes up in arms about it.
Goes off.
Okay. So I think we need to think quite carefully about how to proceed. I think that you have really tried a number of options with him. And I think there's a few things that I want to suggest, if that's all right, if I just make some suggestions. So the first thing is, I feel like this is a very complicated problem, and I wonder if it might be good for you to see an external coach so that you can really dig into that dilemma with somebody who isn't part of the system.
Sure.
If that's all right, I think that might be good to kind of for us to organise that. The other thing is, would it be at all helpful if I kind of joined you in a conversation with him and I kind of came to some of those meetings? Might that change things a little bit, change the context?
Yeah, might. He's pretty smart, so he'd probably behave himself, but it might be useful, particularly if I was saying what's not okay anymore. And
okay, so we might think about that. The other thing I wonder is we've got ourselves in a situation where we're really too reliant on Eric, haven't we? And that constrains our ability to respond appropriately to his behaviour. And so I wonder if we need to just start thinking about how we could make him so he's not so irreplaceable, because then I think it'll make it easier for us to have firmer conversations with him if we feel like we've got a backup plan for if he, if he doesn't kind of respond to our suggestions for changes in behaviour.
That's tricky but doable, I think, because the other team members will probably see what we're trying to do there. Well,
let's have a conversation. I think you're right, tricky, so let's have a conversation to it carefully, but I think that is important. And this is just a suggestion. All of these are just suggestions. You're in the situation, so you need to kind of think through which ones of these would work. Is whether Eric perhaps might need some skills training about, say, assertive communication and influence skills and negotiation skills.
I think that's a really big thing for him. I suspect, from what he's told me, even about his own background, that's probably just the way he communicates. So he probably doesn't even understand the impact that he has at times. And he's a nice guy when he's, good, Eric.
And his intention, it sounds like there is quite a lot of good in his intention, that he wants the project to be successful, that is aligned with what we want.
It's just not okay anymore.
No, I think we've got to work out a way. So if you and I have a conversation about perhaps how I could get involved in this, and the way that would be workable so that I am supporting your position rather than kind of you're appearing undermined by me joining in.
Like we're ganging up on him.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah. So if we kind of have a chat about that, and also perhaps have a chat about how you might want to raise things. Having kind of had this conversation, you've got any other sort of thoughts about what might work?
No, I think Eric getting skills practice. Maybe I could do that too. Maybe that's.
I'll do the training with him.
Yeah.
And the coaching, we might talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds like that's a great idea. Thanks very much, Kathy.
All right.
Good to chat with you.
Rachel.
Welcome.